Kerri. Thank you so much for joining me on this latest episode of Invisible Wounds Healing from Trauma. This is episode 44, and I'm going to talk about why grief is so intense around the holiday season. I'm so glad that we're walking the path towards healing together. So just a quick reminder, I am not a clinician, counselor, or physician. I'm a certified trauma and resiliency life coach, a certified trauma support specialist, advocate, and someone with lots of lived experience with trauma. Also, the information presented in this podcast is for educational purposes only and not meant to replace treatment by a doctor or any other licensed professional. All right, let's dive in. So, grief. Grieving around the holidays can be so intense and hard. But it isn't only missing those who are no longer with us. Grief takes so many forms, and it's wrapped up in so much of our experiences and, what happened to us as a child, our memories, our culture, all of it. So we can grieve the loss of many different things. We can grieve the loss of a situation. Maybe we lost a job or an opportunity we were hoping for. Of course, we miss people that are no longer with us. But, along with the job loss, there can also be, we can grieve the loss of financial stability. I know for me this year, it's going to be a really tight Christmas. Maybe we grieve the loss of a relationship, any relationship, be it family, friends, coworkers, and others. We can also grieve the idea of relationships. If we grew up in toxic and dysfunctional families, we feel the loss of what we wanted, what should have been, rather than what we had or currently have. I know that for me, missing what I wanted, my ideal family, especially at the holiday season, was a tough one for me to grow through. So for me as a kid growing up, the fantasy world in my head was a much nicer place to live in than the real world. In my imagination, everyone was well, happy, and together in a way that they really didn't exist in truth. Everyone got along, no fighting, no drunkenness, no illness, no frequent moves. Things were happy and stable. People were stable. As I grew older and had my own kids, I focused on them, making the holidays wonderful and magical for them as much as I could, doing all of the things I wished my parents had done with me, but didn't. However, I hadn't ever really dealt with my own grief and trauma. I was just trying to outrun it as fast as I could. When my mom died in 1991, many of those things I had been trying to outrun finally caught up with me in a big way. My relationship with her was so complicated, so enmeshed. I couldn't see where I began and ended without her. With her gone, who was I really? That first holiday season brought on waves of grief, huge, crashing waves that I thought would drown me. And that was always followed by the constant grief of losing my little sister in December of 1977. Then, piled on top of that, my dad's hasty remarriage just a few months after my mom died, and I was completely adrift. I continued to focus on my kids during the holidays, even though I was often tempted to just stop, to freeze in place with my pain. Over the years, other losses piled up, jobs lost, homes lost situations and opportunities. Then my kids got older, grew up, and moved on. Again, I was completely lost. Without them to care for on a daily basis, who was I? You sense the theme here, right? Due to everything I had been through, all of the trauma, dysfunction, loss, and lack of stability, I had never had the opportunity to find out just who Kerri really was. I had no idea what I liked, what I didn't like, what I liked to do, nothing. I had always identified as a caretaker, and I'm sure many of you out there can relate. I took care of my mom, raised my little sister, cared for my husband and my kids, but never really myself. I didn't even know how to begin. It was a very, very long process and one that I still work on every day with lots of time, lots of therapy, lots of slow steps, not always forward. I began to put my own pieces together for the very first time, realizing that I, on my own, apart from anyone else, was a being worthy and deserving of just as much love, care, and attention as anyone else was a big moment. I had worth just being me. What a concept. Then I had to learn how to care for myself, how to nourish and develop my senses, how to be present. I had to learn how to be me in a totally new way, not through anyone else, not by how much I cared for or did for anyone else, just me. This was especially true during the holidays. I had to work through my grief, losses, and those old ideas of what I thought was lacking. I began to think about what I did have, how many people I had that I loved and that loved me in return. I had a lot to be grateful for and had to fight all those well-worn scarcity thoughts. Then I slowly began to piece together the parts of my childhood holiday memories that were good, like how we used to gather with our family at the holidays and how good that felt. How hard my mom worked to make Christmas special and magical. All of it. Even remembering the smile of joy on my little sister's face as we raced to the living room, knowing that Santa had come. Does it still hurt at the holidays? Of course. But now I focus on the good, more so than the bad. I stay as present as I can and enjoy the moments of happiness, love, and belonging that I have created for myself and my family. We make wonderful new memories every year, and that helps tip the scales back into balance. Is it easy? Absolutely not. It takes a lot of work and intention to create anything new. Pushing back against those habitual things we know so well is a process, but it can and will get better. You have to want it, then find ways in which to stitch your own heart back together, one small piece at a time. Healing can be messy and painful, but it is always, always worth it in the end. Focusing on what we do have rather than what we don't truly helps more than you'd think. It seems small, but if you really desire change, start there. Start with a daily gratitude practice. You can use an app, you can use a journal or your computer, whatever you find is most supportive for you. Just don't quit. The key is to do it every day. If you need ideas on things to be grateful for and why you're grateful for them, and don't forget that part, why you are grateful and how these things make you feel is an important step. Google ideas. There are a ton out there. A simple exercise that might help you this holiday season, and this is always a suggestion, it's not something you have to do, but write a letter to someone or something that you miss. If you're missing someone this holiday season, write them a letter, even if they're gone. Write out your feelings. Write to them what it is you miss about them, or even what you don't miss about them. If you need to get some anger or hurt out, do it. Then when you are finished, crumple up the letter, burn it safely, tear it up into little pieces, but get rid of it. Then your feelings are out of your head and onto physical paper. then as you destroy the letter, it's gone. If a situation or an opportunity is what you're missing, do the same thing. Write out your feelings around it, then destroy it. It can be a very freeing thing to get it out of your mind, and maybe it will take more than once, but do it. Start today. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen today, and please keep on listening. Wherever you listen, please like, subscribe, favorite, follow me, and please share widely. And what you think really matters to me too. I say it all the time, but it's true. So comment on the show. Let me know what you think, whatever's on your mind. You can find me on Facebook at Kerri Walker and Invisible Wounds Healing from Trauma, on Twitter at Kerri Walker 58, my website, invisiblewoundshealingfromtrauma.com, and my YouTube channel, Invisible Wounds Healing from Trauma. Look for my new episodes dropping every Monday on all of your favorite podcast, music, and listening apps. Please take extra good care of yourself, and we'll talk soon.